What is going on, guys? Elite Wolf here, and today I'm coming to you with a oh my gosh, I cannot talk. Give me a second. This is the best games of the decade. I'm sorry, I can't talk. But yeah, so I'm sorry that this took so long to get out after my last video. It's just I wanted this to be something special, something that just something good. I wanted to make this video good. I wanted to put as much as I can. I'm not gonna put music in the background of this one just because I'm just gonna be talking and everything. Um, so yeah, let's get right into it. So the 20th, so it's going up through 20. It's like 2019, blah 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 blah. So it's gonna start with 20. That's the not best. You know, number one will be the best. 20 is the least best. But uh, for 20, I have the Middle Earth series. So the reason I'm putting them just in the series is just because they kind of work the same. There's nothing a big change, uh, and honestly, I just couldn't decide which one. Um, so yeah, I have the Middle Earth series, and reasons it's a very unique game, something you don't see a lot. At first, it just really seems like another Assassin's Creed game, stealth, that just attack them and stuff. But where this game really shines is the Nemesis system. So like you go around and you beat up some. I think they're orcs. I could be wrong. I forget. There might be like a weird word for them. But anyways, but you go around and then you recruit them, and then you go over and you take over a stronghold, or you recruit like just captains. I don't know. Just they're like lower, and then you go up and you get enough, and you take on a what are they called? A castle. Like you do a siege. Um, Now that might just be Shadow of War. It's been a while since I played Shadow of Mordor. Um, and it was just really unique because if just a regular soldier killed you, and he killed you enough, he'd get promoted and could get promoted all the way up to a war chief. Which is it was a really good system, and I really enjoyed both the games, and so that's where they hit the 20th spot on my list. Just a really unique approach to the not so unique stealth genre. And at 19, I have, I think this is how it's pronounced, Terraria. Now, I put this at 19 because it was kind of like, it was really the only game that was compared to Minecraft, and Minecraft's like rain. Uh, and you don't see too many games like, it was like basically a 2D Minecraft. And it had bosses. It was really like the bosses were it was like really RPG like kind of just there was no like stats or anything. It was just you go out, you mine, you like spelunk and stuff, and then you get treasure, you get armor and stuff, and then you can go out and fight these bosses. And the it was a really unique game, and I liked it. I mean, uh, and that's why it's at number 19. Now, number 18 is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. I think that's how it's pronounced. Uh, there's just the reason I put it up here this far. This like why I even put it on this list, and I don't really know personally if it'd probably go on this list, but I did like the game, and it was a whole like different gaming experience. It could make you like it could make an experienced gamer just feel so low, just feel like make them feel not good. And then as you progress in the game, you learn more stuff. You go from feeling super underpowered to like learning more. And then the more you learn, the more that you are good at the game, obviously. And then once you get good at the game, you feel so powerful. Um, so it's really more of a not your character doesn't progress, you as a gamer progress. Uh, so that's why I put it on number 18. Now, number 17 I have Kingdom Come Deliverance. Now, I'm sure most of you guys weren't expecting this. A lot of things on this list you guys weren't expecting, but this is, like I said, my opinion. Games I really enjoyed. Kingdom Come Deliverance. It was just a true RPG once again. You didn't see many of those, come out this. It's just it was good, and it was a medieval one, and I love medieval games. I just think the time period's kind of interesting. Uh, I just like medieval games, because it's like there's so many opportunities for them. I don't know. But Kingdom Come Deliverance is a great single player because there was no multiplayer. Uh, but the story was great. You really get invested into the characters. Just some of the scenes were so emotional. There, it was great. The combat is like once again, it's a lot like Sekiro, where you know you you just learn more. You get better with it as you go along. Now, not as much as Sekiro because like you do progress the stats a lot, which does help you a lot. Uh, but yeah, it's rare to kind of see a true RPG like this, or at least like more true than anything else, where like your choices actually affect stuff and like I think one of the most interesting things about this was I forget what the quest was called. It's earlier in the game. You're going to find this one guy who had gone missing. Uh, and if you don't get bandits were after him, and if you don't get there in enough time, then he'll die. And it's like it's not just like any other quest where no matter how fast you get there, he's the same condition. No, in this, if you didn't get there in enough time, he'd be like injured and he'd die. And if you got there like sooner, you could save him from the bandits. Um, I just thought that was really interesting, and I liked this for as an RPG. Now number 16, this nobody's gonna be expecting this, but number 16 I have Knights of the Old Republic MMO. Uh, I you can still see it on my channel. I streamed this for a little bit. I never fully finished it. In fact, after I'd finished streaming it, what was I say? After I finished streaming it, I never played it again. But I just thought this was so unique. All the things on this list are going to be unique. Most of them. That's why they're one of the best. That's why they're the best games of the decade. But it was just a Star Wars online game that you played with other people, set in the Old Republic, which is a time period that almost like every Star Wars fan loves, and it was just executed so well. It wasn't like like a Fallout 76 where people wanted an online version of the games and it was garbage. But no, this it was different. It was so good, and the storytelling was I wouldn't say it was the greatest, but I thought it was nice. At least the beginning isn't that good, but then when you get into like the Revan story, I forget what it's called, and then like the other stories, it those are really well written, and it feels like it's coming out of just like the single player RPG Old Republic games. Choices affect how your choices affect how the story pans out. You have to work for your lightsaber, which I really liked. You get to customize your character. You see other people. You choose the light side or the dark side. The light and the dark side have like battles and stuff. It's just such a it was such a like a refreshing time for the Star Wars fan base. Now I'm not going to get into the Star Wars fan base because that's a whole rant for a whole nother day and a whole nother podcast. But yeah, that's why number 16 is Knights of the Old Republic MMO. Now number 15 I have Dishonored. Now I really like this game. I all the games on this I'm gonna really like. In fact, I think let me look through here. Um, never mind. But it was still I'm not a big fan. I do not like the Assassin's Creed games. Okay, I thought I'd get that out of here now, but it's probably the most popular stealth game genre. Um, but Dishonored is like it, you could go stealthy and it's easier. And but you have to go stealthily basically. Uh, because if you try to go out guns blazing, then more than likely you're gonna die. Uh, maybe not, maybe not. I could be wrong. Maybe I just wasn't as good as other people at the game. But there's just so many different ways that you could like stealthily, not even maybe stealthily, just like kill the people. And there's so many ways that you could just play play the game that is just really good. And the endings. Now, spoilers ahead if you haven't finished the game. But there's like three different endings, and it all depends on like how many people you killed, and what you did, and what the obviously the end game part was, like where the guy has the girl, um, the princess, and he's like holding her and stuff, and he's like tries to jump off. Um, but the real thing is like it depends on how many people you kill. Like that's so weird, and you're not really aware of what you're doing either because you know that the plague's going on with all these rats and stuff, and they like feast on dead bodies, but you don't know that the more that you kill, the more well, I guess you do know because it says like more into chaos the state, but it's just really unique, and I didn't see that. Now number 14 is Dishonored 2. I like Dishonored 2 more just because now that you can play as two characters, there's even more choices for what you to do. Um, it was like it was basically just a more refined Dishonored 1. It really worked out the kinks of the first game and made it a really good stealth game. You know, I don't know what else to say for it. Now, number 13, this has to be on the list. Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is the sequel to a first game that everybody wants. It worked out the problems with the first game, made the game better, uh, and it didn't throw away the good parts about a game. It it refined it. It may have refined it. It may have now obviously the really bad parts it took it out and developed in a new system, but it didn't just leave it out. Um, like for example, Fall. I know this isn't a sequel. It isn't like the second game, but it's still like a sequel to a sequel to a sequel. Fallout 4 trashed everything RPG wise, and it really it just trashed everything RPG wise. The dialogue was garbage. The character building wasn't as good. There was no like I don't know the perk system was garbage, or the whatever system. But Mass Effect 2, it really and why the reason that Mass Effect 2 is so good is that maybe just the Mass Effect genre in general is that your choices will like really affect the story. Like the other ones are like oh well, blah blah blah, but Mass Effect 2, it has combat and everything, and then it has the story, and your choices they will take you down a whole different route. Than just one choice will take you down a whole different route than somebody that chose a different choice. And there's like so many different like endings for them, and they're all different. Except for I forget which Mass Effect it was that got so much hate for I think it might have been 3 um, for it. But anyways, yeah, Mass Effect 2 is 13th on my list. Now number 11, or wait, no, number 12 is Halo Reach. It, Debatably one of the best shooters of the decade. I think it was the best Halo game out of them all. Uh, the customization was great. The story was so amazing. Um, the multiplayer was alright. Um, I like the multiplayer personally. I thought that it was everything a Halo game should be, and it was a send off for 343 games. I forget. I can't think. Yeah, I think it was 343 uh, games, and it was just I think that's what it was. But it was a send off for them to the Halo series, and one hell of a send off. Number 11 though. This is probably gonna surprise you, but number 11 I have Crusader Kings 2. Now you want maybe wondering why I have this on this list. Uh, it's just there's so many choices to do in this game. There's so much you can do. Like you, it's this real strategy game. You can go to war with anybody. You go down like a descendant line. Like you could be going to war with somebody while plotting to take out your cousin so that like your son could take over the throne or something like that. It really just immerses you into the politics of it, of like medieval times, and but you also get like the war side, and it's just everything that a strategy game should be. Um, Number 10 on the list is Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption 2. Uh, I mean, I don't know what to say about this game that hasn't already been said. The world is just so real. The story is so amazing. Um, Besides the online, which is kind of bland, not kind of, very bland. Uh, it was a really good game. I don't know, without saying, that's really all I can think to say without saying anything that everybody else has said. I don't think I need to speak much more on this game because it's already been talked about so much. Number 9, we have Fallout New Vegas. For a second, I thought the picture wasn't going to show up. But yeah, Fallout New Vegas, the best Fallout game to ever come out. One of the best RPGs to come out. It was really good. The story, okay, all of these almost have really good stories. But the story on this was so good. It was just, I mean, I can't really, I can't tell you. It was everything a Fallout game should be. It was amazing, and th you had so many different endings. There's so many sides you could choose with. That like there's so many sides you could go with. You could even be yourself. Like I mean, that sounds like weird, but you could go and you could make New Vegas independent. You could go with NCR. You could go with the Legion. You could go with Mr. House. There's just so many things you could do. And not even just that. Everything was a choice almost. Nothing was. Everything was up to you in this game, and that's why it's on number 9 spot. And number 8, as you guys might have expected, you guys were probably thinking this was going to be on the list if you watch my channel. Mountain Blade Warband. Um, what can I say about this game? That I said, I don't know. I've talked about this a lot in my gameplay, but for those that haven't seen it, one, you should go check it out. Two, it's such a great game because a lot like Crusader Kings 2, you had the war side, you had the politics side of the medieval times. Um, Now I'm thinking about it, a lot of like medieval games came out in this decade. A lot of good medieval games. The combat is like it's hard, but it's rewarding and it's good. Um, this game will kick you down on your feet, well onto your knees, and then you'll get back up, and then it'll kick you down again, and it makes you want to strive to be more successful. It makes you think out every single move you're gonna do. Um, if you want to be successful, then you need to prepare a lot, and you need to. If you want to have a really great army, you need to put the time into it. You're not just going to be able to go and buy a bunch of mercenaries and expect to rule the world, you know. But it takes time to become good. Your character progresses, everybody progresses. It's an RPG, uh, but a really well done one at that. Now number 7, although I don't think this game is better than the games on this list, I think the impact it had on the series and on gaming as a whole is really number 7. I have Skyrim. Uh, Although I don't think it was a better game than a lot of these, uh, uh, this is why I have it at number 7. But it changed the Elder Scrolls series. The storytelling was amazing. The only thing, okay, it was better, but personally, some of these things maybe lower on the list were better than this game. But the effect it had on like gaming as a whole was kind of crazy. I don't. It changed the Elder Scrolls series in a way that it brought in new fans. and it really, how do I say this? It opened up the Elder Scrolls series. So like after Oblivion was a success, so a lot more people were playing it, but it was kind of like more of a closed off section, especially like although Morrowind was a really great game, um, nobody was like, oh wow, you know, Elder Scrolls. Uh, it was kind of just like gamers, like it, and I guess that's for everybody, everything on this list. But what I'm trying to get at is it really broadened the people who enjoyed the Elder Scrolls series. It brought more people into the fan base of Elder Scrolls than any other Elder Scrolls games did. And it was really great storytelling. The Civil War quest lines were really the best, if you ask me. I thought it was better than the Alduin main quest by far, and I hope they continue the Civil War because it was just such great storytelling. You really feel for the characters, and if you get invested in a side, especially on the Civil War, then there's like almost no going back. Like you're not gonna change your mind. Personally, for me, I'm a Stormcloak guy myself, but you know what? You know, it's whatever. uh, Number six. Now you gotta know this is gonna be on the list somewhere. I got Minecraft. I don't think any game has had a bigger role in gaming itself than Minecraft did. You could be it brought in so many people who were non-gamers who didn't even play games at all, and it brought them into play games. It just and it not only did it just bring in new gamers, it like you know extreme. I don't know if you call it just non-cash. I don't know how you'd say it. There's like casual gamers and then there's like gamers. It brought them together. Both people play it, and that's not a lot of games. A lot of games are really just for like people who are into games, not like just people who will get on every once in a while and like boom 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 and then done. Um, and you could do whatever you wanted in this game. You survive, you get stuff, you build. You can build whatever you want. There was a couple of bosses to beat. Well, two, maybe. Wait, yeah, two. And it just it's basically just the staple game for the decade. Although I don't think it's better than the games on this list. I just realized that the impact that it had on the industry itself. Number five, I have Metal Gear Solid 5. It just this is the way you want to send off a series in a blaze of glory like this. It was it was great to see like you stealth around, you're going in, sabotaging people like the enemy's base and stuff. Um, I don't know if I'm describing this good. Uh, but you'd go do stealth stuff while at the same you'd go and you'd pick up unconscious if you didn't kill him, you just made him unconscious. Then you could get them out of there and then like recruit them to your base and then make the best mother base that you could like get the best staff. And you'd have to rearrange the staff because everybody is like different, like better at some things than other people were. Um, Now I realize that the picture on this is like really, really low quality. Just because like it just is. While at the same time you have to like upgrade the mother base, like actually. It was a great game and an amazing send off to the Metal Gear Solid series. Uh, and I just there's it was the way a series should be sent off. Now speaking of series is getting sent off. Number four, I have Dark Souls 3. Um, best Dark Souls game. Uh, I think is better than one. Surely better than two. I don't know anybody that like really liked two. Um, because it was weirder. It didn't feel Dark Soulsy to say the least. Just kind of it was different. But same thing with Metal Gear Solid 5. This is the way that you send off a series. Um, there are so many bosses, mini bosses. The game was in my opinion, harder than the first one because I actually needed help to beat this one. I did not need help to beat the original one, and I still haven't finished Dark Souls 2. But there's just so many choices. This is Dark Souls, just the series itself is the staple of RPGs. It's the truest RPG ever. I mean, at least when it comes to like equipment wise, like stat wise and stuff like that. I guess story doesn't change that much because you know you there's different endings and stuff. I guess, but there's not that many choices. But it was just Dark Souls 3 was a really good game. The best Dark Souls. It was like everything every Dark Souls fan loved. I not even Dark Souls fan, because like even if you like Demon Souls, then you'd really enjoy this game because like it had the I think it was Storm Ruler. I think that's what the sword was called, which was from Demon Souls. Uh, just a great game. I'm trying to put in words just how good this game was. I put in so many hours into this game. Uh, there's so many different endings. The game's like hard. It's difficult. Um, there's just so many different weapons you can choose from. So many different armors. So many ways you can like upgrade them. So much different like equipment. The rings and stuff. It was just, it was so good. And the DLC was great. And Ring City was really a way to finish off everything. Um, now number three, this is obviously going to be on the list. Number three, I have Witcher 3. Um, and yes, I kind of did Witcher 3 and like Witcher 3 at 3, and then Metal Gear Solid 5 at 5. I kind of did those on purpose, but that's really where they fell in line. Um, what can I say about this except for best RPG of the decade? Now I know that I said the Dark Souls series is like the epitome of a true RPG. This game is what every RPG should be. It's so good. I ooh my gosh, I do not know how to like explain to you guys how good this game was. The storytelling amazing. The DLC stories amazing. The combat is fluid. But while it's not too complicated, it's simple, but it never gets old. Like I said, the storytelling is so good. The abilities are cool. Um, and you just feel like you have a choice. Like really, everything is your choice, and just just great. Like it was just a great game. Um, number two, I have Dark Souls, the original. Now I know that I said Dark Souls 3 is my favorite, and I think it's the best. But Dark Souls, the original, is really what started like so much. It there's I can't think of any other game, or at least any like really I can't think of any game. I'm getting caught on words here. Um, I can't think of any game that is referenced to so much than Dark Souls. You know, if a game's hard, it's like this is like Dark Souls level difficulty. Uh, and while Dark Souls is hard, it's harder than most games. I I don't know. You just gotta play it, and when you play it, you get good at it. And when you get good at it, then it's not as hard as everybody says. But then again, it takes time. Unlike most games, you really have to put the time and the effort into it to be good. Um, uh, what can I say about the endings? I think there was only two, but you had like the two serpents talking to you and telling you what to do. The game really made you think, what should I choose? Like, what's gonna be better for the kingdom if I do this? And I think most people chose to light the fire. And the battle against Gwen was so good. I mean, the reason that I put this really above Dark Souls 3, and while Dark Souls 3 had the boss Lord Ascender, which I think is the best boss out of the entire series, to like I wouldn't say by far because I think a Taurus of the Abyss is really close, and uh, but I'll get into that later. But while Dark Souls 3 had Lord of Cinder, which the music soundtrack was great for that. It had a little bit of Gwen in there, which I'm gonna get to. And but it also had its own mixture. The phases in that were really good. Um, all around, just everything a last boss fight should be. Now this one, but you didn't really sympathize. There was no character behind Lord of Cinder. It was just all of the Lords of Cinder or Souls of Cinder or whatever. Oh no, wait, it's Soul of Cinder, and it's all of the Lords of Cinder combined. Um, ever combined. Um, Now you don't really sympathize for that character. There's no. I guess there could be a couple of bosses in Dark Souls 3 that you really sympathized for, but it was really never to the point like I need like I can't kill this person. Dark Souls did that. What the wolf boss fight. I forget what his name is or what the wolf's name is. I think it might just be Wolf. Uh, that because you know the story behind the wolf and a Taurus of the abyss too. You know their story, so you feel so bad but you have like you. It's not an optional boss. You have to kill the wolf if you want to do the DLC A Taurus of the Abyss, and it makes you feel like it made me feel terrible to have to do that because usually they're like bad guys, but the wolf is not a bad guy. In fact, he's just trying to protect you because like he doesn't want you to go into the abyss. I think that's what it is. Um, or it's either that or he's protecting his master, um, which is a Taurus of the Abyss. Um, just so great. And although while I think that the wolf boss fight was a super easy boss fight, it just had so much emotional backing behind it that I think is one of the best boss fights in the series. And I think that a Taurus of the Abyss is the second best boss fight of the series because that boss battle was so good. And once again, the story, he fought the Abyss so much, and then he eventually got consumed by it. And overall, just a super cool character. Um, and then they had the Lord of Gwyn boss fight, which was really cool because you learn about him. He was like the basically the king, and for you to like battle him and win, it makes you feel super powerful. Um, yeah. Oh, and like he's protecting the fireplace to see if you're worthy, and it's so good. Um, Now number one. While I don't think this is the best game on the list, it's definitely up there. I have that number one best game of the decade. I put Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Why did I put this up here if I didn't think it was the best? Okay, I do think it's the best game of the decade. I just don't think it wasn't personally my favorite of the decade. It might have. It's definitely up there, but like I said, I really like the game. You really, unlike any other Zelda game, except for maybe Wind Waker, you really, really felt like Link, and this might have been my favorite game of the decade. I just talking about it was so good. Although once again, like I said for a couple of games before this, um, although your character does progress, you get more hearts and stuff. The combat never changes. You get better, which really fills into you feeling like Link. You really step into the shoes of the hero, and the fact that you can just go straight to the to Ganondorf, or wait, am I saying? Oh, I like getting. I'm having like I don't know. I can't think. I think it's Ganondorf. It's either Ganondorf or Ganon. I think it's Calamity Ganon. Um, the way that you could just go straight to that boss, straight to the castle, I guess, is great. Although, and then like you have to find the Master Sword, which was amazing, and then you have to have like a certain amount of hearts to pull it um, out of like the pedestal that it's on. And the memories were great, and it's like, cause I guess you have like amnesia kind of, like you forgot all your memories. If you go to places, take the pictures of them, you kind of get back the story of it. So you if you want to know the backstory more than what you've already been told and learned, you really have to go through those memories. Like if you want more in depth, then you have to go through the memories. Um, the combat system, like the weapon system, was great. Um, Overall, just the best game of the decade. And the way that it was both for non-casual gamers, like you didn't need to be like a full-fledged gamer to enjoy this game. It really bridged the gap between that, where both people could enjoy it. Both kinds of gamers could enjoy it. And, the boss fights were amazing. It's just, it was such a great game. Um, yeah, those are the best games of the decade, if you ask me. Um, I think that's the list. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. But number one was definitely Legend of Zelda. There was no question with that for me. I had I guess there was because I kind of thought of like Dark Souls maybe. But no, Legend of Zelda it was great. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, then I'd appreciate it if you did like it, and then just tell all your friends about it. Tell them about my channel. If you are new or if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to join the Wolfpack today. Uh, if you have subscribed, go and tell your friends to subscribe. Just it helps out the channel a lot. And I will see you all in my next video.